Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to another Communicate Great podcast episode where we teach you tips and tricks to level up your communication skills. We just want to give a huge shout out to Lauren from the Health and Wellness Group. If you have not checked into her stuff, go do that. We will link all of her stuff in the comments below. Both Traci and I use some of her products and we like them a lot. So shout out to Lauren. We appreciate you. Traci, how are you doing today? How was your weekend? Let's catch up.
I I'm good. I'm good. What? Oh, this weekend was kind of busy. We got to spend some time together, which is
Yep.
always nice. And let's see.
Got to
I
see
guess I'm
some
good. How are
family.
you? Yes, we got to see some
I'm
family.
doing great. I'm excited to get back into the swing of things. We're about to start up a series all about how self esteem affects your communication skills, and there's lots to it. So stay tuned for that because I know we do have some men listeners out there. Shout out to the men. You know, you can probably learn something from this as well. But for our women, self esteem issues, I feel like it's a major, major thing. We all deal with it. I deal with it. I don't know a single woman who doesn't have some sort of self image, self love issue. And if you don't have any issues, great, good for you. You're already ahead of the game. Wish I could be you. But I'm excited for us to get into this series just because I think it's becoming more and more talked about, but for the longest time it wasn't talked about. It was just fake it till you make it. Confidence is key, just sweep everything under the rug and be a boss lady, and that's great, but sometimes you need to take a deep dive and look within and just figure out how to fix your issues from deep inside yourself. So I'm excited for us to talk about this. I'm happy that more and more people are talking about this. I think you can always learn when it comes to self esteem, self confidence, self love, whatever you want to call it. There's always things to learn and there's always things to work on. So, I'm going to let Traci kick us off. She's the guru, she's the professional. I'm just here to talk to a microphone. Go ahead, Traci.
Well, you've actually kind of hit my first point, but I want to back up and talk about how I came up with this series. So, a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking with someone and she was sharing with me that she had been to a conference. And one of the speakers was really pounding that we tend to have low self-esteem and low self-worth. And so one of the things that I said in this conversation to her is that at my age, I've come to realize that no matter how beautiful a woman is, or how accomplished she is, she's always going to have those self-doubts and struggle with self-confidence. I just believe that is true. I was speaking with somebody years ago, and I don't know how I was coming across, but apparently very confidently. And when I shared with her that I had a lot of self-doubt, she was so surprised because she felt like I had, quote unquote, all of my stuff together. And I just think that is such a farce because so many of us have those negative thoughts about ourselves, some more than others. And so this is extremely important to talk about in regards to communication, because communication is truly at the foundation of our relationships. And so when we have low self-esteem, when we don't esteem ourselves as anything worthy or valuable, then it definitely impacts how we relate to other people. So even professionally, though, if you think about it from a professional standpoint, if you have low self-esteem, you are not going to advance as someone with higher self-esteem at the same rate. So I don't know, does that make sense, Emma?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what you're saying.
Okay. And so you hit on the
I
confidence.
do.
You hit on the confidence going into introducing it. So that was my first point, is that it impacts our confidence. And when our confidence is lower, then that impacts how people perceive us. And it also impacts how people treat us. And so if somebody if somebody has lower self-esteem, then they may become a doormat at times for people. So it's important to think about how our self esteem is impacting our confidence. And by the same token, when we have lower self esteem, we're not as assertive. And there is a difference between assertive and aggressive. And I want to make that clear. So when somebody is assertive, they are caring for themselves, but also caring for the other person, whereas aggression is just all about self. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about true healthy assertiveness. And so if you have lower self esteem, you're not as assertive. And that goes back to the point I just made. You will have lower boundaries. And so when you have lower boundaries, you're not sticking to boundaries that protect yourself. Again, you may open yourself up to be mistreated. On a scale of things, it could be slightly or it could be pretty drastic. So that is another reason why we need to really take stock of what our own self-esteem is, how we think about ourselves, the value we give ourselves. So, third one, and I made a couple of notes because I want to make sure I hit all of my points. So, going back to how self-esteem impacts our relationships, then often if we have lower self-esteem, our relationships are weaker. And that kind of supports the last couple of points that I just made. And so if we, sorry, I'm looking at the notes. Yeah. So we're often more uncomfortable around other people when we have lower self-esteem. And so that makes it really hard to get to know somebody and to open up those channels of intimacy with people if we have lower self-esteem and poor confidence. So any thoughts so far, Emma, before I get to my last 2 points?
No, I think you're making some really good points. I think it's just so right. Like, it's so true whenever you say, like, you can always tell when someone is not confident, and just in a professional manner. Like, I would not want to take orders from someone who's not entirely confident and secure in what they're doing, whether it's their job or even themselves. I would be like, do you even know what you're doing? Like, why should I listen to you? And I just think that it's just so important. I know we're going to keep talking about this and we're going to get deeper and deeper and deeper and do some digging. But I do just think it's so important to find a way to actually have that true, genuine confidence within, because you can tell whenever there is a false confidence. You can tell when someone
Mm,
is faking it till they make it and just trying to
mm.
act like they have it all together. And I mean, at least for me, you can see right through it. You can see when someone is just spewing crap out of their butt, is the nicest way I will put that. And so I just think it's so important to actually take a deep dive and like really figure out the issue, you know what I mean? Because the more you sweep it under the rug, the worse it's going to get. And then you just have a pile of crap under your rug and you have to throw away the rug. Thank you. That is all. Welcome to my TED Talk. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk.
That was funny. Okay. And that's interesting what you say, because a lot of times people who you think are super confident and even cocky, arrogant, a lot of times arrogant people are just masking that lack of self-confidence. And so they swing to the other side and come across, and maybe they are really, really trying to fake it until they make it. But and to me, when I see that and I recognize that all of this is stemming from low self-esteem, I kind of get sad because they haven't reckoned with that, right? They haven't done the work that it
Yeah,
takes to
no, I
get
do too. I
healthy.
definitely, yeah, I know when people mask it, I get sad too. And I mean, I think we're all guilty of masking it at times. I know I do it sometimes. Sometimes before I have to do something, whether it's professionally or personally, I just gotta put on a fake old face and just get through it. But I mean, I know it shows, and I know other people pick up on that because I'm not the best with faces. But I mean, it is sad, I mean, it's just the way the world goes, I guess. But we're trying to fix that. We're trying to deep dive and fix our issues. Isn't that right?
We are. So the last 2 points that I want to make in this episode, they kind of go hand in hand. So when you have lower self-esteem, it impacts your ability to go about conflict resolution in a healthy way. So, likewise, when you receive feedback, if you don't have higher self esteem, it makes it hard to receive that feedback in a healthy, neutral way. Because often when we get feedback and we have low self esteem, what do? It just makes the spiral worse because then we sit and beat ourselves up instead of taking it, considering it. What is true in this statement? What is false in this statement? If it's true, let me work on that. If it's false, it's okay. That's your perception. And I know how I feel or how I see things, right? So those are 5 reasons that there is a fly there. Those are the 5 reasons that we really need to think about, and 6 if you include the professional one, that we really need to think about improving our self-esteem, taking a solid look at the way we perceive ourselves and the value that we assign to ourselves. So the next 2 episodes, we're going to cover 5 tips in the next episode on ways to improve our self-esteem. And then we'll follow it up the next episode with another 5 tips to improve our self-esteem. So again, this is a super important topic when it comes to communication because it impacts us professionally and it impacts us personally.
All right, very nice. I didn't know if you're going to keep going. Well, I'm excited for this series. I hope everyone else is too. There's so many things. Don't make me laugh. There's just so many things when it comes to our self esteem and our confidence and our just kind of self issues, honestly, and self image, even. So I'm very excited for this series. We're going to do a lot of research and do our deep dive into ourselves. And maybe we have some quizzes along the way that we'll take because, we're a big fan of those. I'm a big fan of self-reflecting quizzes. Sometimes I like diagnose myself off the quizzes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this. But in all seriousness, I think it's very healthy and normal for people to take a look at themselves on the regular and just figure out what changes need to be made, because if you don't, then you're never going to grow. And that is why we are here. We are here to help you grow professionally and personally. In whatever way you want to grow, we are here to help, as long as it's for the better. So I hope everyone enjoyed this. It's good to be back in the swing of things. I know we took a brief little intermission, but we're back. We're better. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for what Communicate Great has this upcoming year. It's going to be awesome. So stay on the lookout for those announcements. And I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and we will see you all and chat with you all next Monday.
All right. Bye.